Can you hear the plates at Montecito Royale smashing right now? Because as far as I'm concerned, Meghan Markle has epically failed in her attempts to sabotage King Charles's Australian tour. Let me explain why I say that. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught my eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this one, shall we? Because has Megxie failed in her attempts to sabotage King Charles's Australian tour? Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Oh, hell yes. So let me explain more as to why I'm saying this in the first place. So this is the thing, right? The Australia tour nearly didn't happen. So it was at the beginning of this year that it was actually said that, King Charles was set to go on this Australian tour. However, when Buckingham Palace announced back in February that King Charles had cancer, and all his public-facing duties were stopped on doctor's orders, yeah, there was a little bit of a question mark as to whether the king would actually make it this year for an official Australian tour or not. As Danielle Ralph says here on the BBC News website, back then a trip to Australia seemed unthinkable. A flight of around 24 hours, a punishing time difference, and days of royal engagements would surely be too much for a 75-year-old dealing with a cancer diagnosis and embarking on treatment. But the palace aides never took this trip completely off the table, saying it's not being ruled out or decisions will be made on the advice of doctors and that the king needs to focus on treatment for cancer first. So at the beginning of this year, it was, kind of tabled, rumoured that King Charles was going to do this Australian tour. But then in February, the announcement that he's got cancer. So it was kind of a question mark as to whether he was going to able to make it this year to Australia for an official tour or not. So what happened since then? Well, Megxie and Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, for those that aren't familiar with the language here on Stef The Alter Nerd, decided it was the best idea on the whole wide world to not go on one fake royal tour, but two fake royal tours to try and set them up as the alternative royal family, the rival court, so to speak, right? And to me, these were, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, Megxie and Hazard's attempts to sabotage the upcoming King Charles's Australian tour, whether it was going to happen this year or next year, right? So here we go. First and foremost, of course, the more recent fake royal tour with Colombia. If you looked at the mainstream media, you would have thought, everything's well. It's all being successful. These fake royal tours, the countries are receiving them pretty well. They're popular, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't think so. The Colombia tour, right? They have the 3,000 police. They've got all this security, this, that, and the other. Barely anyone turned up to see them. They didn't have any crowds whatsoever. The Colombians couldn't give an absolute shiz about Hazard and Megxie in Colombia. So Megxie and Hazard's attempts to try and sabotage King Charles's Australian tour by going on this fake royal tour in Colombia to try and set themselves up as the rival UK royal family for Colombia failed. However, you guys might be thinking, well, hang on a minute. Before that, there was Nigeria. Yeah, there was Nigeria, right, guys? And so, again, you look at, a lot of the mainstream media and you'd be thinking, well, hang on a minute. Looks like it's all going well, right? It's all in pictures. They're looking great, blah, blah, blah. However, she screwed up in Nigeria as well. She and Hazard. Yeah, they were welcomed to Nigeria by a fugitive airline boss wanted in the US over a $20 million money laundering operation. So, not only did she screw up in Colombia trying to set herself up as the rival royal family. But she and Hazza, screwed up in Nigeria as well. Again, failing in their attempts with these fake royal tours in Colombia and Nigeria to sabotage King Charles's Australian tour by trying to set themselves up as the rival royal family. With this Colombia tour and now Nigerian tour, they didn't set themselves up as the rival royal family at all. They set themselves up to be bigger laughingstocks. Because these kind of mistakes that we're seeing here that they made on the Colombian and Nigerian tour, you wouldn't see for a royal family tour. You just wouldn't at all. And this is the thing, right? Where, the crowds and essentially, the public in both Nigeria and Colombia didn't welcome Hazza and Megxi. Well, it's a different kettle of fish for King Charles and Queen Camilla for Australia, because these are crowds that Megxi would kill for to have in Colombia and Nigeria. So here we've got the Australian government saying Australians have had their first chance to meet their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla. After they attended a church service at St Thomas Anglican Church, North Sydney, the King and Queen met parishioners, children and members of the public. Look at the crowds. No crowds in Colombia. No one came to see her or Hazza. They couldn't give a shiz. But they do when it comes to our King and Queen. Not only that, but the media is also on the King and Queen side as well. They're also reporting that King Charles and Queen Camilla are receiving warm welcome from huge crowds of Australian well-wishers, as one declares that the monarch is very welcome and very loved. And you've even got the Australian media reporting favourably for the King and Queen, saying royal fans are flocking to North Sydney for a chance to catch a glimpse of them both. Now, we've got further pictures here. We've got Catherine the Great at Brownwan L. Thomas, a Twitter account I definitely recommend you guys follow if you are on Twitter, and saying, look, this is an incredible start to the Australian tour for their Majesties King Charles and Queen Camilla. Day one was a resounding success, and it's clear that Australia holds them in great affection. We didn't see any of this commentary when it comes to Hazza and Megxi for their fake royal tours in Nigeria and Colombia. Instead, it was time after time, mistake after mistake. And when it comes to the more recent tour in Colombia, oh my goodness, the narrative was more, damn, they don't look good together, Hazza and Megxi. Megxi looks peeved off. Hazza looks peeved off. They don't look happy together. The whole conversation wasn't about the success of their trip. It was about, essentially, the perceived failure of their relationship and their marriage. So, yeah, if Megxi and Hazza had any designs to try and ruin King Charles's Australian tour by setting themselves up as the rival royal family doing fake royal tours in Nigeria and Colombia, they failed big time, guys. Big time. Here we've got another one. It's so heartwarming to see the excitement and warm welcome this morning from the people of Sydney. Absolutely. Again, pictures Megxi would kill for, guys. And let's leave it with Angela Levin here, turning round and providing her commentary on Twitter, saying, amazing crowd, so pleased to see our King and Queen, just what's needed. Exactly. This is just what's needed. If Megxi and Hazza tried to attempt to sabotage King Charles's Australian tour by setting themselves up as the rival royal family with their fake royal tours in Colombia and Nigeria, you just look at these pictures and videos alone, and it's easy to see Megxi and Hazza have failed in their attempts to do that. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and believe me, of course, there's going to be more, you do not want to miss my next video, then make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe, because I'll be honest with you, help us now get to 1 million so we can also get that go play button right there and hopefully cause a Meghan Markle meltdown on Instagram. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also, as well, if you've got some very strong opinions on whether you think Megxie and Hazza have failed in their attempts to sabotage King Charles's Australian tour by trying to set themselves up as a rival royal family with their Colombian and Nigerian tour, and I bet you got some thoughts about that, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.